If you want to play NFL envy and you're a Niner fan, is there any other coach, quarterback, roster situation that you would rather have?
I mean, people would say Reed and Mahomes.
Okay, but you got to take the whole team. Like, you don't just get QB and coach. You get.
I see.
I think in terms of like NFL envy, if you're a Niner fan, there's no team that you envy. There are quarterbacks you might covet.
I agree.
There might be a few coaches you would like to have, but in terms of your roster, your QB, and your head coach, I think you're at the top.
Can I ask that? I mean, because this is a very popular conversation, is how many QBs would you trade Purdy for? Nahagian's tweeted about it today. Kruger's tweeted about it today.
Kawakami has a list.
Yeah, it's interesting. It feels like something we did on the radio a week ago. But anyway,
you're welcome, Tim.
Yeah, I had what, 8, and you had like 12.
Yep.
But that was a week ago. I don't know if that's been adjusted or not.
Tim Kawakami also had 12 ahead of him, by the way.
Yeah, and you and I said,
am I right?
The rational answer was anything sort of between like 7 and 13.
Yeah.
I feel is a rational answer that you can really back up. If you've got Brock outside your top 13, you are a hater. If you've got him in your top 5, you're maybe a little over your skis. Nate Burleson, though, is on the phone. I don't know. I don't know exactly where he sits. It feels like somewhere in there. But let's go over to coach. Trading Shanahan for anyone? I'll go first. No.
Well, there goes that bit. We got another 35 minutes in this segment.
All right, well, it's all yours. That's going to be a no from me, dog.
Perfect.
Dog. Exactly.
Perfect.
I don't want Andy Reid right now over Kyle Shanahan at this point in his career.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You ever you look at Andy Reid and I'm just like, my man. Like, I want him to, you know what I mean? I want him to lose some. I want him to get healthy. Let's put it that way.
He's doing fine.
I don't care what somebody looks like. No, but he's been through a lot with the family and everything. When I look at Andy Reid, I'm just like, God. And you know what a coach's life is like. It's stressful.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would not take Andy Reid, and I don't even know who else in the league would make me stop and think about taking him over Kyle Shanahan. There's not no one is the answer.
Well, there's a list of guys that you could have the discussion about. And most of them are the coaches who have been tenured longer than he has. Skills pointed it out. I've mentioned it before. He's the 6th longest tenured coach, tied with Sean McDermott and Sean McVay. So would you take Belichick or Tomlin, Harbaugh or Pete Carroll or Andy Reid? I don't think that any of those guys is a slam dunk. Andy Reid might be the one, but even at that, I'm not disrespecting what those coaches have done. John Harbaugh's team is always good, and Mike Tomlin never has losing seasons, and no one's won more than Bill Belichick. And Pete Carroll, we need to give him his flowers because he went from Russell Wilson, QB on a rookie deal, had a little bit of a dynastic sort of run, and now he's doing it with Geno Smith. And Seattle is still good. And the gum chewer is as vibrant as ever at 71. So
good coach.
I wouldn't take any of these coaches over Kyle, but I do think that there's a discussion of, who Kyle is with.
Sure.
In terms of, Kyle's the only one in that group that I just mentioned who doesn't have a bowl.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, we're having a conversation side by side of Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. And there were people who were like, if you are a black and white type thinker, you're like, okay, they're both the same age. They both came in at the same time. They both done really good. McVay's record is better and has a Super Bowl. Done. And I'm like, okay, for me, that leaves out a whole bunch of stuff. But JB Long came on this show and said both fan bases probably would not trade their coach for the other. Obvious answer being, we'll never know since the Rams don't have a fan base. But you're right. If they had a fan base, they'd probably take McVay over Shanahan. I think most 49er fans would take Shanahan over McVay. But yeah, you just named they're all good coaches. Tomlin, Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Even Sean Payton's got a Super Bowl in a history. I know he's off to a weird start now. Belichick, Peterson. There's a lot of really good coaches out there. I would not swap Kyle for any of them as a 49er fan.
Especially right now. And the thing that I was really struck by yesterday watching the Miami Dolphins run up and down and watching McDaniel do what he's doing with that team, they feel like they're a team that is being built in his image in terms of what he wants to do and how he wants to be. McDaniel is an offensive-minded guy, and he's got a track team, and so he goes out there and he tries to beat you 70-20. That's the kind of blueprint he's looking for. Shanahan, son of Mike, is from the old school of we're going to run it, we're going to possess it, we're going 21 personnel with my fullback that is the highest paid fullback in football. Most teams don't have a fullback. Not only does he have one, he uses them about 70% of the time, and he builds everything around the two backs, the run game, the stretch, the play action, ball possession. He wants to keep it for 38 or 39 minutes. He wants to grind you into submission. He wants to take your will. And you look at this team, and they are built that way with a physical tight end who loves to block. They got 3 or 4 tight ends. Yep. You got an elite left tackle. You have a physical wide receiver core that also, by the way, love to block when it's not their turn. So they're built in Shanahan's image. And we look around the league, and I don't see a lot of other teams that are built roster-wise and the way they perform the way Miami is. Yeah. And like Buffalo's a good example. McDermott has a team built in his image. He wants a tough, physical defense, and he has a very talented quarterback. They can beat you 40-38. They can beat you 9-6. And I think that's what McDermott wants in Buffalo.
Or they can combine both and beat you 48-6.
Yeah.
Which is what they've been doing the last 2 weeks to Vegas and Washington.